Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to the Mindset Mastery Workshop. My name is Chanelle Janae, and I'm so excited to have you guys here today. Like, seriously, I don't think you guys understand like the planning and the time that went into this. So I'm so appreciative to have you guys here, and I'm so excited to start going through everything with you. So the agenda is going to be super quick. I'm going to go into an about me, and then I'm going to go over my mission, and then I'm just going to go into everything with you, which is what I call the goods. So about me, again, I am a mindset coach. I am the creator of New Vibes, which has been my online presence for about the past 2 years. I have that as my Instagram name. That's the name on top of my Facebook page. I had a blog previously called New Vibes as well. I'm a podcaster. If you haven't caught the Newcast by New Vibes, you definitely can, since you guys are technically on my website for this webinar. If you go to the menu on the side that has like the three little lines or whatever, it should have a drop down that says podcast. So if you haven't, I highly suggest you tuning into the podcast. I am a teacher. I have taught a few live series, and one was about clearing emotional clutter, and then I'll just do random like live lectures as well. So I'm also a speaker. So what I do is I utilize all of my personal experiences as well as all that I've learned from my coaches and mentors to help other people overcome the same obstacles that I've faced in my life. And my mission is to deliver every single strategy, hack, journal prompts, exercise, secret, and technique I come across that I've tested and proved successful in getting past the rough times. So why are we here today? So if we feel like we're not progressing based on fear, we're feeling like we're not good enough, feeling like we don't deserve more, feel of failure, fear of rejection, we're angry and hurt from the past, we feel like history is going to repeat itself, and we're just self-sabotaging, this is so perfect for you. So what I want to do today is just lay down the basis of what creates change and how we finally step up to the plate and just throw all of this BS away, and we just get it out of our lives slowly but surely, one step at a time. And I want you guys to know that we're going to get over this bridge. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I have been there. You guys are not alone, and you're going to get through this again, one step at a time. So let's just dive right in. So this is the real deal. What truly holds us back is doubt. Something stops us from doing what we want or making moves to where we want to be because we have this internal conflict that's just not in alignment with where we want to be. We think that all we need is strategy to be where we want, but it's not. It's mindset. Our biggest enemy is our mind. Like, seriously, 120%. You can have all the strategy that you want in the world in the super freaking like thought out plan and proven plan. But if you don't think you can get from point A to point B and you don't believe it, you will not get there, because it is everything. It's 80%. Mindset is 80%, and then 20% strategy. We start to generate these limiting beliefs before our frontal cortex is even fully developed. Okay. They come from childhood, family life, culture, society, and so many other things that just influence us. Society, I think, is a huge one, and especially family life and culture. We get conditioned into what's right and what's wrong, what's good and bad, what's beautiful and ugly. And then all of these start to structure our brain. And what our brain does is bring past to present. It retrieves a stored memory that relates to the current situation. So I have a kind of an embarrassing story that I'm going to tell you guys. So I used to be really afraid of big dogs. And the reason I was afraid of big dogs is when I was at my grandpa's house, I was really young. I think I was probably like 5 or something like that. I was standing outside and I was looking at the neighbors' dogs, and they had big dogs. I don't know what kind of dogs they were. I can't even remember it. I just remember in my head, it looks like this giant, scary beast, you know? And it was just staring me down. It was kind of growling, and I was just like standing there, and I was like, okay, Chanelle, don't run or it's going to chase you. Don't run, it's going to chase you. And something in me just just tweaked out, and I was just so scared. So I started running, and the dog started chasing me, of course, like I knew it was going to happen. And I ran, and my aunt picked me up, and the dog was trying to like jump up and bite me, and I peed my pants and everything. I was so freaking scared. But for a while, whenever I saw a dog, that's all I saw, and like I said, our brain throws out 95% of our memories and keeps the 5% it feels important. Obviously the feeling of deep fear is going to be important because it's our like flight or fight response, and our brain is just like keeping that like, okay, that's something we need to stay away from. But obviously I've overcome my fear of dogs. I have a giant German Shepherd, but that was a perfect example of how our brain brings the past to the present. But I want you guys to know that our thoughts are not our thoughts. Okay. This is like the hugest thing that I ever freaking learned. It's like the book that I read that changed my life was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And he talks about this phenomena of watching our thoughts. And I was like, what the frick does that mean? Like, watch your thoughts. But then I started to realize what he meant. He meant like, picture yourself almost outside of your body and all the thoughts that go by in your head, and then like separate yourself from them. Don't identify with them. Just because it's something that goes through your head doesn't mean it's your own thought. But all we do is think. It's a survival mechanism. The brain is constantly ingesting all the information about what you're experiencing on a moment-to-moment basis. And then our brain is trying to figure out what's going on, and it has an opinion about it. An opinion is based off of a conclusion you came from the first time you experienced it. And it could be something you experienced firsthand, or it could be your first experience with it. What of it was hearing from it from an adult or a parent or someone around you. And then once you're able to separate yourself from your thoughts and realize it's not you, then you can question the thinking that's taking place. Here's like a super petty example. Like, you never met someone before, but you heard someone talking about them. Like, a friend of yours told you about this person, Charlie, and Charlie is like super manipulative and they use people for money and like this and that or whatever, right? And maybe that's just something based off of experiences they had with them. When you actually meet this Charlie person, automatically you're going to be like, oh my God, they're a manipulator and they use people for money because that's what so-and-so told me. And that's just automatically your thought about them, because that was your first experience of them, is what you heard about them. Okay. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? Are you guys following me a little bit? So it's about becoming aware of and disassociating yourself with these ways of thinking. Like, wait a minute, I don't even know this person. This is just what so-and-so told me. So now you can question it and tap into your personal power. We're used to just kind of like being our thoughts and just going through life without questioning it at all. We just accept it for us and our own opinion. Like, for example, like, I'm a spiritual person. I'm not really a religious person, but I grew up in a Christian home, and I just thought I was a Christian like my whole life, just because that's what I was told. And I grew up going to church every Sunday, but that's not exactly what I really believed. I was just told that that's truth. So I took this truth and that was it, you know? And as I got older, I started, kind of learning more and expanding when it comes to spirituality and religion. I just have chosen a spiritual path just because that fits my, like, me more, you know? And we go growing up our whole life with a certain identity of what we think we are because of what our parents told us or what our family told us. And at the end of the day, that's not even really who we are most of the time. So reconnect with life. These thoughts kind of have us disconnecting from life and from ourselves and the true version of us. So take the unconscious patterns and question whether they're true and if we truly agree with it. And the way that I like to point out your truth and something that really doesn't align with you is what type of thinking has been habitually taking place with you that just does not feel good. Like, if it doesn't feel good, it's trying to tell you something, and there's a reason that it doesn't feel good. So this is the thing. It's all about decision, like all about decision. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know, every single post I talk about a freaking decision, because there is insane power in decision. We know we can all live up to more, do more, experience more, but all it takes is a decision. We've been making decisions against ourselves, and it's time to make a new decision. We have to make decisions that are in alignment with where we want to be. And Tony Robbins said, it is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And it's so true. The difference in people's results come down to what they've done differently from others in the same situation. If we want to direct our lives, we have to take control of our consistency of our actions. It's not about what we do once in our lives, but what we do consistently. And this is a huge mistake so many of us make. We do something one time to try to make a change, and we don't turn it into a pattern or behavior, and people think that's enough. Like, oh, well, I tried to change and it didn't work. No, it's not what we do once. It's what we continue to do and what we make new habits. And a lot of people think like, okay, well, some people have an advantage, or some people this, some people that. But you know what? There are people who rise against all odds, and that is the proof. Like, if you've heard Oprah's story before, like, man, she rose against all odds. Seriously, like, she had everything going against her, and look at the woman she has, or the woman she is now, like, in the power and influence she has. When you make a commitment to a decision, it becomes real and powerful. And for results, you have to commit and decide what kind of person you want to become and set the standards of acceptable behavior for yourself and those around you. Set them and live by them. So how would the person who has these things already, how would they walk? How would they talk? What kind of fuel would they put in their body? Like, what kind of people would they surround themselves with? Like, do it as if it's already yours and write it down and journal it as if it's already yours. I'm so happy and grateful that ABC. I'm so happy and grateful that I have this. I'm so happy and grateful that I've worked through all this. I'm so happy and grateful. Just continue to write it and express gratitude as if it's already yours. And instead of commitments, some people make excuses. I did that. I'll admit it. My past and my trauma was my excuse. It was my cop out. It made my failure okay, and it made not taking action okay. Oh, well, I've been through abusive relationships, so it's okay for me to step back and not want to be around people. Oh, I grew up poor, so I'm always just going to have these kind of jobs, or I don't have this. So, just, it's all BS, you guys. Like, we instead of making commitments and decisions, we make excuses. And it's not the conditions of your life that determines your destiny, it's your decisions. And I finally realized that. So pain and pleasure are two super important things when it comes to making decision and taking action. Everything we do for a reason. There's always a driving force. Our need to avoid pain or a desire to gain pleasure. Pain and pleasure controls all of our decisions consciously and unconsciously. We link more pain to taking action than putting it off, which is why we procrastinate. But then we stop, we change what we link our pain to, which is like if we don't get the end result, and it changed to something that we weren't ready to settle for. And that's why we took action. In order to succeed, most of the things that we value most require us to break through the wall of short-term pain in order for us to have long-term pleasure. And it's not our actual pain that drives us, but our fear that something will lead to pain, which is usually why we don't take action. We're scared of failure, but that doesn't mean failure is really going to happen. Like, we're just scared of it. We're scared that it's not going to lead to anything. We're scared that of the uncomfortableness that comes with it. We're pushing past comfort zone. So it's just all a freaking illusion, you guys. Like, that's not real. Like, we have to stop doing that, and we have to link our pain to what it's going to be like if we don't make this change in our life. We're not driven by reality, but our perception of reality, the fear, the pain, the scarcity of having something, just the failure. So I want you guys to start with this. First, understand the pain and pleasure system and associate pain with the old belief because it's caused you pain in the past and it's costing you pain in the present. And then it's taking away everything that you want ultimately in the future. Okay. Like, this, you need to associate pain to this. Like, this decision that you're making right now is causing you pain now. It caused you pain in the past and it's costing you the future. And then associate pleasure to the idea of developing a new empowering belief. And if you question anything enough, then you'll just begin to doubt it. So use this to destroy the limiting beliefs and empower the supporting beliefs. So the first step is to decide, what do you really want and what's preventing you from having it now? If you keep focusing on what you don't want, that's what you're going to get more of. Change the focus to what you do want. Be very specific and very clear and learn what's preventing us from what we do want, which is disempowering beliefs. So again, write down in detail what you want. Write it in the present, write it in the now. I'm so happy and grateful for this huge house that has 5 bedrooms. It has a pool. It's red. It has white shutters, exactly like I wanted. Like, I'm so happy and grateful that I got to move to LA. I'm so happy and grateful that I got this and that, and just keep writing it in detail and your brain starts to visualize it. Okay. So be specific and clear, and also think about what's preventing us. Like, write down the limiting beliefs and write down where they're actually coming from. Like, for me, I used to have a limiting belief that I was ugly, and it's because I wrote down all the things that people used to say to me, and I was like, this isn't even my own thought. It's coming from things that other people told me, so I just accepted it as my reality. Okay. And then urgency. Associate massive pain to not changing now and massive pleasure to changing now. So change is not a question of capability. It's just a question of motivation. Like, are you really motivated to make this change? And that's where associating the massive pain to not changing comes into play, and massive pleasure to actually creating this change. it doesn't feel like a must, and it's what we want to do one day. Like, it needs to feel important, it needs to feel like that must. We need a sense of urgency so that we're compelled to follow through right now. So what will this cost me if I don't change? What's it already costing me? And what will I accomplish if I really do change this today? Like, what kind of things could I reach? And I ask my clients this all the time. Like, it's the first thing I talk about. Like, if you do not change this, what will your life be like in 3 months? And like, what other areas of your life is this already affecting? And if you do change it, imagine your life 6 months from now. Like, what would it be like? And then don't worry about the how. We don't need to know the how yet. We just need to decide. The brain doesn't know the difference between imagining and reality, which is why it's so important to write things and imagine them in detail. When you start to visualize it in your brain, it starts experiencing it as if it's already happening right now. And then it starts to build new neurosynaptic connections. And that's when your brain starts to get the how. It starts manifesting these new thoughts and ideas to give you the how. So don't worry about it right now. A lot of people will be like, well, I don't know how I'm going to get there. Well, let me tell you, when I quit my 9 to 5, I didn't know how I was going to do my business full time. And then shit just started happening. Like, there's so much power in decision and just taking a leap and trusting the universe is going to put all these things into your life. I did it, and it's the best decision I ever freaking made. So take massive action, you guys. Condition the new pattern until it's consistent. Rehearse it. Imagine yourself doing it repeatedly until it feels good to you and you see it solving your problem. Your brain will pave out a new pathway. Set yourself up with a schedule to reinforce your new behavior. Reward yourself to link pleasure. So whenever you hit a freaking milestone and you get one step closer to it, freaking reward yourself. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what you would want to do. Like, me and my boyfriend have like a calendar, and we write our goals on the calendar for the month, and we reward ourselves when we hit those goals. Like, not more than just verbal, like, good job, like, actually go out and celebrate, like, because it's so worth it. Reward yourself and be patient with yourself. I cannot emphasize this enough. So many of us think that we have to solve everything at once, but that's just not how it works. It's one step at a time. We have to find the core problem and make a plan. And once that starts improving, it's just a domino effect. And then everything starts getting better and changing because we solved that one core problem. Like, I talk to my clients about that too. They're like, I need to fix this and this and that. And I'm just like, no, the core, like, I need you to think, like, what is this all connected to? And they usually figure out what the core problem is by the questions that I ask them. And then it's a domino effect. If we change this, then it'll affect A, B, and C. Like, if we just change this one thing, it'll affect your productivity, it'll affect your business, and again, it'll affect your happiness. And then keep it up. Consistency is key. As we're forming a new habit, it's so important to keep doing it. We have to hold ourselves accountable for change. It's super difficult at first because we want to retreat into comfort, but don't forget to remind yourself of what you're working for and what your life will continue to be like if you don't make this change. Link pain to that. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Working on ourselves and working against years of conditioning is not easy. So if you need help from friends to keep you on track or guidance from someone who's been there through this, just reach out to them. There's power in people helping you and holding you accountable. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I freaking love Tony Robbins. He's taught me everything I know. But he said, what stops us? Fear of disappointment. People stop setting goals to avoid the pain or give up too soon because they don't get immediate positive feedback. People need persistence, but you can't abandon the ultimate vision. Okay? You cannot abandon the ultimate vision. A lot of us like expect change immediately. And if we're not getting positive feedback, we're like, you know what? This isn't working. Like, no, it takes consistency. Like, and just always bring yourself back to what will my life be like if I don't change this? So start now and start today. Like, we always put it off until tomorrow or when we're ready, or we wait for a sign. Well, this is it. Here's your sign. If you have that one thing you've been meaning to work on and change, that next level you've been trying to reach, that goal you've been meaning to accomplish, that past you're trying to let go of, now is the time. So let's freaking do this. Like, no more waiting, no more staying stagnant. Like, how's it going to benefit you if you don't change it today? It's not, right? You're going to stay in the same place where you know you want more. But if you start changing it today, you're opening up the possibility to a totally different future. So remember, you're not alone. We are not our thoughts. We are our own worst enemy. All it takes is a decision with massive action. Nothing in the past matters or the future, only right now. Make commitments, not excuses. Be patient with yourself, one step at a time. You don't have to do it alone. And don't abandon the ultimate vision. Start today and start now. So thank you guys. Like a huge, huge, huge thank you for attending this webinar. Like it means the world to me. I was super shocked at the numbers of people who signed up. Those who were signed up for the first one, I'm so sorry if you guys missed it. I had a weird emergency, but thank you so much for watching this class, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And as a thank you, I'm offering free 30-minute breakthrough sessions, and we're going to dive into what's been holding you back and what it is you need to start making steps in a new forward direction. And then you'll receive another special bonus on the call. So I'm so excited. I hope you guys take everything that you learned today. I hope you took amazing notes and you're able to utilize all this. But if you want to take it a step further, then book your free 30-minute breakthrough session. It should be just below this webinar. So that's all I have for you guys today. Book your free breakthrough session. Let's get started. Let's make these changes and start making moves towards your ultimate goal. Okay, you guys? I love you so much. And thank you again for tuning in today.